For those of you who I have not met, I know I've met a lot of you, but my name is Rachel Gibbs. I am I just began the role of Elementary Instructional Technology Specialist starting this semester in January. And then prior to that, in the fall, I was in the role of Elementary Math Specialist. We do a lot in that regard. And then before that, I was a gifted teacher at Heritage. So, but just a little background for what I was going to go through and share with you guys today. As you guys know, back in the fall, most all of you were given one-to-one devices, which is awesome. Unfortunately, the piece that we were missing was maybe some guidance and support before those all were handed out. Unfortunately, at that period of time, we didn't have anyone who was specifically devoted to instructional technology in that role when those devices were being handed out. So back in the fall, our elementary instruction team reached out to Dr. Nichols about going ahead and starting to put together some supports for you all so we could start to feel really confident in utilizing those devices. And so when we requested that, we were tasked by Dr. Nichols to put together a task force, which then worked on developing an overall goal for instructional technology. And we've also worked through several other pieces, including starting to put together sort of a 3-year growth plan for helping you all to feel super supported and confident about doing some powerful things with technology in your classroom. And I guess sort of the silver lining of those devices being handed out before we had those supports in place is that we're getting this remainder of school year kind of as a time to build some prerequisites and start to get really confident. And then we'll be looking at next year as the first year in that 3-year growth plan. So I'm going to go through some of those things quickly with you in this slideshow. I have a QR code and a URL here. If you do want to save that so that you can get back and access the links in the slideshow later if you would like to. And I also linked the slideshow in the chat box, so you should be able to access it that way as well. Okay, so we're going to quickly move through looking at the foundational pieces that we have put in place for our one-to-one integration of technology, what we're going to basically model all of our supports and PDs that we'll be offering starting up this school year and moving into next year, what those will be modeled all around. I'm going to introduce you to those. I'll go over quickly the current progress that we've made on our one-to-one task force, and also just in the elementary instruction team side, some things that have been going on kind of in the background at central office. I want to make sure we're all on the same page of what's kind of taking place so you guys know what's going on. And then we'll look at expectations for this year as far as our technology integration. And then I'm also going to go over some supports that are currently in place for you, as well as some supports that are coming. And then we'll have a quick time at the end, like I said, for question and answers. And again, I'm sorry if I'm going fast. For the sake of time, I'm going to try to get through all this quickly so that you guys don't have to stay too long after school. Okay, before we actually even get into that first piece, I did want to kind of communicate to you all some procedural measures that we've kind of been putting into place with Mr. Payon and his team. My official role, as well as my new partner, Russell, who is the secondary instructional technology specialist, our role is much more built into helping you all to meaningfully integrate the technology into your instruction. However, we kind of realized as we started up this semester that there were some pieces that really need to be put into place to ensure that we feel really confident and are able to be successful using the technology instructionally. So some of the things that we've been doing, I know these are some of the big hot topics and questions that we've heard a lot, so I wanted to make sure to share some information with you all. So one thing that we're currently developing are some very clear student procedures. Those are actually, we've developed them, we're just waiting for complete approval that we'll be able to share with you all to kind of clearly paint out exactly what the process looks like with damaged devices, stolen devices, disciplinary issues for students who we might see repeatedly not having their device ready, charged, or repeatedly showing up with a damaged device. That's all being put together and should be ready soon. We're also looking at a system for how to loan out devices when a student is in need of a device immediately. Another thing that we had a lot of questions about were charging stations for our classrooms. So I'm really excited. Very soon, hopefully this week or next week, we're going to be getting in some demo charging stations, and in different sizes and kind of space considerations too, some different cabinets and things to sort of demo and try out. And we'll be getting feedback from our one-to-one team and our administrators on that as far as what we think might be most beneficial for our teachers so that you guys do have the charging stations that you need in your room. And then looking at how much of that can be covered through the system, and then how much of that can be handled through your school. We are also looking at replacement charging cords, and also making sure that we have a whole bulk extra set of cords for all of our K through 2, since we know a lot of our K through 2 are keeping those devices in class in those charging cabinets or carts, however you're storing them. We saw that situation arise when we had to send devices home virtually recently, that we needed to have those extra cords to be able to send to those students so you're not having to pull them out of devices. So we're putting together an order to make sure we have those. And then also we're setting up working on setting up a really good system to ensure that we have our tech support properly placed and that the line of communication is flowing effectively, so that you all feel confident that you're going to be able to use what you need to use and get the help that you need when you need it. Okay, the first piece that we're going to kind of talk about are the foundations that we have been building the plan for our one-to-one integration off of. So there are 3 big foundational pieces, and you're going to be hearing a ton more about these as we move into next year and we start the very specific targeted professional development on these. But just so you know what they are, and you can go out and kind of explore as you have time on your own. Our main framework piece that we're going to be using is called the PICRAT framework. I'm going to show you a video for that in a moment, a really short video. But it is a really good guide for how to integrate technology in a way that's meaningful, and making sure that we're thinking about transforming what we're doing through the technology rather than just replacing traditional practices that are already great the way they are just with technology, but using technology to do something that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. We're also going to be doing a lot of PD on the 4 C's of 21st century thinkers and how those can be conduits to help us make great instructional decisions with using technology, as well as looking at how we can integrate those digital literacy and computer science standards into our classroom instruction. As you guys know, those have been around for a long time. I think 2018 is when those were published, and so those are really kind of the expectations that our students are getting those at the base of their technology expertise. So we're working on putting together some resources for you all that make that not a whole other thing that you feel like you need to do, but really focus on how we can spread that out so that everyone is kind of helping to support with that for our students, and also so it's very easily integrated into what you're already doing and just makes what you're already doing better. So we're working on building those resources for you. And then you can also see in that last box the goal that we built for instructional in Madison City Schools. And I'm not going to read that off. You guys will be able to come back and read it later. You've probably already read it. Okay. I'm not going to dive too deep into the 4 C's or those digital literacy standards today, but I did want to very quickly show you this PICRAT video. I think it will help you understand the main framework piece and our biggest foundation that we're basing all of our professional development and supports that we're putting together for you all on. So I'm going to let that play really quickly. And if you guys aren't able to hear, someone jump on and let me know. I had a little bit of an issue this morning when I was sharing, but I think it's fixed now.
When new technologies are invented, they often provide many new ways of thinking and doing things. For example, how have smartphones changed the way we live and work, or tablets, or even the internet? However, one problem we have as humans is that often we can't imagine very well the new possibilities available from new technologies. So instead we use them just to do the same things we have always done before. Teachers struggle with this too. We often teach the way we were taught and struggle to think of how we could teach better based on the technologies we have that our teachers did not have. Our goal is to help you think critically about the technology you'll use in your classroom and to begin to see the potential technology has to transform and engage students in the learning experience in new ways. To begin, We're going to show you a technology integration framework. Frameworks are tools we use to begin conversations. In this case, conversations about how we should use technology to improve student learning. Let me introduce the RAT model. The first letter R represents replacement. Replacement can mean the following. 1. Changes the appearance or dressing of our practices, but not the practice itself, making digital copies of traditional practices, recycling instruction. 2. It doesn't affect teaching or learning practices and behaviors. 3. Can still be a useful use of technology because it can increase access. For example, a digital worksheet won't get lost or eaten by your dog, but it doesn't really impact or improve learning. The A in RAT equals amplifying. In other words, technology improves the efficiency of tasks or introduces new functions to original tasks. The T in RAT equals transforming. It introduces new activities in learning that are impossible without technology. Take away the technology, take away the learning too. Next in our PIC-RAT model is the PIC portion. P equals passive. In other words, students are observers, bystanders in their learning. The I equals interactive. Students engage in material in an interactive way. They are active learners. The C equals creative. Students are creating materials themselves. They are creative learners instead of passive or active ones. This is the apex of student engagement, and students often learn deeper when they have to create something using the content. By combining PIC and RAT together, we create a matrix of the many different ways technology can influence teaching and learning. You could use a technology that replaces a face-to-face conversation and where students are passive learners, such as a video lecture, or where they get to interact back through technology, such as a video conversation, or where they get to learn by creating their own videos in a way that completely transforms the way you typically teach. The PIC-RAT model is a great tool for helping you to think about your teaching and how you use technology in the classroom. None of the squares on the matrix is necessarily a bad way to teach. Sometimes it's good to be a passive learner, for example, and listen to others, such as in this video. But a good teacher will continually evaluate their practice and think how they can improve. Using the PIC-RAT model can help you think about what kinds of ways you could use technology that will help students be more active and creative as learners, and ways that transform your teaching to levels you hadn't considered before. So when you hear about a new technology, don't just ask what it can do for you that you already are doing anyway. Think PIC-RAT and see if there's a way this technology can help you transform your teaching in positive ways.
Okay. So just kind of an overview of our progress so far, just so you can kind of see where we're going and what we've accomplished. So as far as our task force progress, we have worked together to develop a national goal that I shared with you all. We started drafting what we want our 3-year growth to look like starting next school year and then through the next 3 years. And then, as most of you probably already know, because you completed it, we have done a survey and evaluation of readiness for our teachers. And that's going to help us make sure that we're providing that tiered system of support throughout the next 3 years, because we know everyone is not in the same place. Some of us are very ready to dive really deep into technology integration, and some of us are feeling a little more hesitant, and that's very natural. So we're going to be using that survey that we did put out to help kind of design supports that are appropriate for all different levels of readiness. And then, as I mentioned before, moving forward, we're working to streamline those DLCS resources for you to very easily integrate as part of your instruction. And then also looking at instructional supports for, like I mentioned, all levels of readiness, and then building prerequisite skills for our students to feel successful with integrating technology. Our next slide is there's a lot there, so I'm not going to talk about all of that, but it's kind of taking some of the reflections from our team and putting those together to see sort of what our rough 3-year plan looks like. Right now, it's sort of a 3-year vision. There are a lot more details for us to think through, but you can kind of see at the top of each of those years how the focus is leaning on that framework that we just watched, thinking about taking our practice from just replacing what we're already doing to amplifying our practice and then transforming it in a way that it couldn't be without technology. And then, of course, a tier system of support through each year to support that. Okay, so what is expected this year? I know that's what everyone wants to know. So what should I be doing with this technology this year? So of course, as you feel comfortable, please take risk and integrate your technology already with what you have. But as far as what we really want to see, we're kind of lucky in this year that we get to sort of get comfortable and build some prerequisites for our students so that we feel really confident going into next school year. So one of our big things is helping our students understand care of device. When you go back and click into this K through 2 and 3 through 5 link here, you'll see there are a couple of posters that we have put together for K2 and 3-5. And unfortunately, since I'm not there, I can't give those to you, but I will be giving those to Mr. Fernandez really soon to hand out to you all. So we're giving those to all of our classroom teachers. That's one resource you'll have to start working with your students on care of device. And Russell Johnson, our secondary specialist, and I are also working to put together a module that you can use with your students for that as well. The other thing that we're going to be putting out for you all this year is we are going to very kind of in a very shallow way start to introduce those DLCS standards. We're just going to focus on one strand of the standard, which is the Citizens of a Digital Culture strand. And like I said, those resources are coming, so don't stress about that. You'll be getting those soon, and it will provide you with very clear kind of ready-made activities that you can do with your students if you want to take them and use them, or you can do your own thing if you want. But there's very few standards within that strand. It's going to be very minimal, but I think very beneficial for your students to start to understand that as we go into next school year. And then, like I said before, make sure you're just taking some supported risks, try some new things, and start to get comfortable. And then also taking advantage of the support offerings that are already out there. And I'm going to quickly let you know what those are. Okay, I'm not going to go through this whole entire list for sake of time, but this kind of breaks apart for you, looking at sort of the difference between what Russell and I, as your instructional technology specialist, can help you with versus what your technicians can help you with. Our technical job is to help you more with integrating those tech tools into your curriculum and making those instructional decisions. Of course, I also want you all to know, one second, that I want to be there to help you however I can. So if you are needing help with some of those more technical support type things and you're just not able to get the support that you need, I can also be there to help you with guiding you to the place you need to go or to providing communication. So if you're really stuck and you're not sure who to ask when it comes to tech support, or if you're just not getting the answers, then do please reach out to me and I'm happy to help in that way. I may not always know the answer on how to fix your hardware software issues, but I'll certainly try and help communicate those where they need to go. Okay, I know I'm starting to run over your time, so if you need to go, it's totally fine. You can come back and watch later. But I do definitely want you to know that these supports are currently in place for you. So, so what current elementary supports do we already have? Now, these can all be accessed on our elementary instruction site. So I'm going to actually click into that site to show those to you. We're working on developing a one-to-one EdTech resource site, but it's not ready yet. So currently, those resources are in the elementary site. So when you go to your MCS bookmarks and then access your elementary instruction site, you can navigate to the one-to-one EdTech resources. And there are several things listed here for you. So as far as upcoming PD and school support sessions, we have Go Guardian teacher training that's going to be happening soon. That will take place, should take place either in February or March for you. Those aren't scheduled yet, but those will be going out soon, so you guys can understand how to use our Go Guardian teacher program, which is going to help you feel more confident on the security of your students using technology. And also there are some great instructional uses, especially for our lower grade students, being able to get them quickly to a screen or help them navigate or problem solve when it comes to tech. So that's going to be coming very soon. I have also scheduled some local support sessions. Now, those are completely optional, but if you are able to come to those, that's wonderful. I'm going to be helping out with some just getting started with tech type things. And then some ideas for amplifying your instruction. And also a portion of the time is going to be work session and you being able to kind of try things out and ask questions. It's also going to be hugely beneficial to me because you're going to be able to share with me your needs, and I'll be able to help better plan supports too moving forward for you. So they're organized K2 and 3-5, but if you need to come to the K2 meeting and you're a third grade teacher, it's not a big deal. It'll be very easy to kind of address both types of needs. But if you are able to come to those, wonderful. And then also, most of you saw that this went out previously. There are several technology support sessions at Central Office that will be starting. The first one's actually in February. So if you haven't signed up for those, do sign up for some of those, and please do sign up. It helps us know how many people to expect. So if you think you'll be able to come to those, be sure to sign up for them. Another thing that I am trying out, if you have an individual need, like if you would like for me to come and visit to see something you're doing in your classroom, or if there's something in particular that you would like help with, I have set up what I'm going to try to do as an appointment calendar. I'm going to be in schools all the time, and you can email me whenever. But I've tried to go ahead and block out some times that you can just reserve if you know that there's a need that you have. So that's also here on the elementary site. When you move forward, you'll be able to see, or you can click and reserve those times. They're 30-minute slots. Okay, and then the last thing that I have linked on here for you, I had lots of requests on what all apps and services do we actually have out there. And so this is not a comprehensive list. There are tons, and we're working on making sure it's comprehensive, but we've started to put together a list here of everything that's available for you with a brief description of what it is. So if you're just wondering what all is out there that MCS pays for you to use, then that is also linked here on the elementary instruction site. Okay, a few more supports that are coming soon. Like I mentioned, we do have a one-to-one resource site. You're going to see a monthly newsletter start to go out, hopefully in February. And there are some other really exciting opportunities that are in the works. I can't share lots of details, but I guess it will just kind of suffice to say if you really enjoy using technology, or you're excited about learning more on how to integrate it in your classroom, Dr. Nichols is very interested in developing some programs that are going to be very motivational for those who are hoping to integrate technology in a more innovative way. So keep your eyes and ears open for new opportunities that are coming with that. And on our last screen here, you just have my and Russell's contact information. Please do reach out to us with anything. We are here to support you. You'll see me walking around the schools from time to time, but reach out to me whenever with any kind of need. Also, please make sure that you are sharing the awesome things that you're already doing with technology, using those hashtags MCS Learn and hashtag EdTech MCS when you have cool things happening in your classroom. We want to make sure we're highlighting all of our teachers that are trying out some really cool things.